Aloha and welcome to this module on basic user interface design. And really, this is basic user interface design for web applications. Because what we're going to be focusing on in this module is pretty much the low-level mechanics of using HTML and CSS. And HTML is, really pretty trivial, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that, but we will spend a little bit of time getting a little more comfortable with CSS. Some of you may have worked with CSS before and will find this to be very primitive and trivial. And if that's the case for you, then congratulations. You get a week where, the material's kind of easy for you. But I do want everybody to have basically the same, relatively modest level of comfort with CSS. And also how it interacts with IntelliJ and how you can use the Chrome Developer Tools package, which really becomes essential for understanding how CSS interacts with the DOM in order to render web pages, and why widgets will appear the way they will on a page. Now next week we'll be looking at Twitter Bootstrap, which is a CSS framework which will enable you to do a lot more cooler things more easily. But for this week we're going to do some relatively simple things, not that easily in some sense. But it's more pedagogic. It will help you understand how HTML and CSS work. So we got a bunch of readings, and you'll breeze through this HTML5 tutorial. There's a CSS tutorial, and then we'll talk about Google Fonts, Google Web Fonts, which is 600 fonts that you can use freely in your web applications. And because 600 is a very big number of fonts to worry about, I picked out an article that talks about 10 combinations of fonts for titles and text that work well together. We're not going to go into typography in this class, and it's really, it's kind of silly unless you are interested in typography to get into it, because you can just go and have typographers recommend to you combinations of fonts that are going to look good together. Chrome Developer Tools, absolutely essential, and you'll get a little more practice with that in this module. And you've been using it so far in a very kind of primitive way for your JavaScript, because you could because that's where the console is located. But you'll get a lot more experience with it. And then there's a tool called Live Reload. You might want to try it out. It enables your page to be refreshed automatically when you make updates to the underlying file. That can be pretty nice, but it's optional for you to use. Then we have a few different practice WODs. You're going to build up a kind of a very simple web page that's going to help you explore the use of CSS to manipulate the way layout works, technical essay, couple different assessments. All in all, pretty straightforward module here. I think it'll be a useful review for some of you. For others, it will be helpful to you to kind of introduce yourself to HTML and CSS, and then we'll be ready for next week, where we explore the wonders of Twitter Bootstrap.